Welcome to this fascinating episode about celestial mysteries. Since the beginning of creation, angels have occupied a unique place, conceived as beings of light and wisdom, alongside God, long before humanity existed. Yet some chose another path, a path of darkness and rebellion, and ended up falling. It is these fallen angels, controversial, mysterious, and sometimes feared figures, that we will explore today. Lucifer and the First Rebellion. In the beginning there was order, an immaculate light that ruled the heavens. Among the angels there was one who surpassed all others in his beauty and wisdom, a being known as Lucifer, the bringer of light. He was the supreme guardian, the jewel of the celestial kingdom. All around, the other angels gazed at its splendor in awe, and some even said that its wings, with their sparkling brilliance, rivaled the purity of the stars themselves. But a forbidden desire began to grow within Lucifer, a compelling need that over time became insatiable. What he wanted was not just the recognition of his peers or even their adulation. No, what he coveted was to rise to the level of God, to reign not only in the heavens but to be above all. This dream, this ambition, became his obsession. His previously serene mind was transformed, driven by a desire for absolute power. At first alone in his doubt, Lucifer was quick to turn to other angels, to those who perhaps felt a part of what he felt, or who were simply seduced by his vision. By speaking to them, by promising them unlimited freedom, he sowed the seeds of rebellion in them. Little by little, he built up a circle of followers, companions of light who allowed themselves to be convinced by his words, captivated by this new and dizzying idea, to challenge the immutable order, to redefine the hierarchy, to shake up the supreme authority. Then came the moment of rupture, the moment when Lucifer and his followers moved from shadows to action. The first celestial revolt broke out in a burst of energy. It was an upheaval, a tearing apart within the celestial kingdom. God, in his infinite authority, cast them out of heaven. Their once pure light was obscured, and they fell together into an endless fall. This rebellion and its outcome marked the birth of the fallen angels, beings forever banished from divine light, their destiny now tainted with darkness. Lucifer, once the bearer of light, became the symbol of rebellion and perdition, forever embodying this unfulfilled desire to rise where no angel had the right to go. The Watchers. Observers turned rebels. In ancient times, long before history was written in stone, a special group of angels were sent to Earth. They were the Watchers, piercing-eyed celestial entities charged with a simple but sacred mission: to observe emerging humanity, to be its silent guardians, and to ensure that the divine order remained intact. In the heavens, they embodied loyalty and vigilance. On Earth, they must have been the benevolent shadows of man, invisible, intangible. Yet, in the slowness of the ages, something changed. Their souls, although immortal, felt the weight of earthly solitude and the deep mystery of the human condition. These men and women they observed awakened in them forbidden emotions, thoughts that they had never known in the celestial spheres. Fascinated by the fragility, by the imperfection of human existence, an insatiable curiosity took hold of them, an attraction that they could no longer contain. Where their role should have been limited to observation, they crossed the invisible barrier between heaven and earth, leaving aside their oaths. Some, guided by newly awakened desires, chose to unite with humans, thus sealing their own fate. According to ancient writings, particularly the mysterious Book of Enoch, nearly 200 Watchers gave in to this earthly call, abandoning their mission to follow the ways of the flesh and passion. From these forbidden unions were born hybrid beings, the Nephilim, colossal creatures with formidable strength, giants half angels, half men, whose power and scale inspired as much fear as wonder. The Nephilim became legendary figures, dominating men with their stature and knowledge, inherited from their celestial fathers. These giants were anomalies, errors in the divine order, living memories of the Watchers' disobedience. In addition to their unions, the Watchers brought to men occult knowledge, arts that were until then inaccessible to them, magic, the secrets of the stars, and forbidden knowledge on the nature of the world. Their influence, although hidden, has spanned the centuries. The legends of the Nephilim and the Watchers continue to inhabit human memories, appearing in the form of ancient tales and enigmatic myths. These angels, born to observe, became actors in their own right, reprobates forever marked by transgression. Their fall leaves an indelible mark on human history, and each mention of their name seems to resonate as an eternal warning to those who would dare to cross the boundaries of the sacred. Fallen angels and their particular destinies. Samaeza, the angel with captivating charisma. Among the Watchers, one name stands out, whispered in the most secret stories and evoked with fascination. Samaeza, an angel of breathtaking beauty, endowed with magnetic charisma. He possessed this rare power to transform the thoughts of others with a simple look, a simple word. But his greatest strength lay in his ability to inspire, to awaken in his peers emotions and desires that they had previously been unaware of. Like a star too bright to hide in the shadows, Samaeza seemed destined to attract attention, to arouse passions. Samaeza was not a simple observer. Where other Watchers stood at a distance, in the neutrality of their mission, he saw in humanity something far more precious than a simple subject of study. For him, these humans were fascinating, imperfect, vulnerable, but limitlessly creative, capable of feeling an infinite range of emotions. Their world, their lives, all of this exerted an irresistible force of attraction on him. It was not a whim or a passing curiosity. It was an obsession, a thirst for experience that he could no longer quench. Little by little, Samaeza used his natural charisma to instill his ideas in the other Watchers. Through his words, he opened their eyes to another vision, where union with humanity was not a taboo, but a choice of accomplishment, a path towards a form of freedom that they had never before considered. With an audacity that bordered on arrogance, he spoke to them of what it would be like to live among men, of a world where they could finally feel human emotions, taste passion, know love, and discover hidden mysteries in the eyes of angels. For Samaeza, union with humans represented much more than a simple act of rebellion. It was a fusion of worlds, a bridge between the celestial and the terrestrial. Thus, the Watchers, under his influence, dared to cross this sacred limit. Together, they created the Nephilim, gigantic beings, half angel, half human, embodying a rare power and an unprecedented hybrid nature. These creatures were tangible proof of the impact of Samaeza, of his power to break the rules and transcend prohibitions. Erekiel, the angel of light and shadows. Erekiel. Its name, in ancient whispers, evokes both protection and enigma. This angel, coming from the celestial heights, was initially a being of light, a guide and a healer. As he approached, it was said that the air became sweeter, and that his hands, invisible but powerful, could relieve the suffering of human beings. He carried within him the essence of divine compassion, a warm spark that passed through the souls of those who encountered his light. But Erekiel's destiny was not as clear as his initial aura. If some angels stayed away from humanity, content to observe human beings from afar, Erekiel was one of those who delved into the mystery of the world of men. His curiosity was intense, almost unsatisfied. He saw in them reflections of the divine, beings gifted with dreams, fears, and unanswered questions. He wanted to understand, to know, and this thirst led him little by little towards unexplored paths. Kokabiel, the fallen star and master of the stars. Kokabiel, whose name literally means Star of God, is a being imbued with the essence of the cosmos. From his creation, he carried within him the knowledge of the stars, a knowledge of the heavens that surpassed that of mere mortals. This angel, fascinating and enigmatic, was not intended for simple observation. He was made to decipher the mysteries of the universe, to read in the constellations the destiny of souls and the secrets of the world. In him, the brilliance of the divine and the stellar coldness came together, creating a being of pure knowledge and vision. When Kokabiel descended to earth, He saw in the night sky much more than an inert firmament. For him, the stars were not just points of light, but guides, omens, symbols of mysterious forces. He decided to introduce humanity to what he saw, to what only celestial beings were supposed to understand. By his hand, the first men learned to read the constellations, to understand the lunar cycles, to decipher the movement of the planets. What we call astrology today was Kokabel who laid the foundations, guiding men towards knowledge that would allow them to situate themselves in the immensity of the universe. But this gift was not without ambiguity. For some, Kokabel was a guide, a scout in the darkness of the unknown. His teachings brought them hope, a way to understand the vagaries of destiny, and perhaps even to influence it. For others, however, this knowledge was a curse, a gateway to forces far too powerful and inaccessible. Through his teachings, Kokabel would have offered men knowledge that they were not prepared to carry, awakening in them a need to control what cannot be controlled. Kokabel thus embodies an ambivalent figure, angel of light for those who seek to understand their place in the universe, but tempter for those who perceive in his knowledge an invitation to assume divine powers. This duality is what makes it so fascinating and so difficult to pin down. By revealing to us the secrets of the heavens, he opened doors to the unknown, doors that some have never dared to cross. Kokabel remains a complex symbol for humanity, both of knowledge and danger. It asks the eternal question, can the search for knowledge, even that of the stars, remain innocent? Or is it always a risk that could consume us? The healing he offered to men was already a form of magic, a gift that bordered on the limits of the permissible. But over time, Ezekiel discovered other knowledge, hidden from mortals, which awakened a new fascination in him. The mysteries of the earth, the secrets of the stars, the invisible powers, all these aspects of creation contained an incredible force that only enlightened minds could perceive. He then began to teach men ancient arts, sacred knowledge, which opened the door to divination, signs hidden in dust and fire, messages hidden in the sky and the figures on the ground. Yet each power transmitted came with a price, a break in the divine order. Ezekiel, once an angel of light, now walked a narrow line between the sacred and the forbidden. He knew that what he offered humanity could be dangerous, but he also believed that knowledge was a form of healing. Therein lay the paradox of his existence. Both guide and tempter, he initiated men into secrets that perhaps they should never have known. The story of Ezekiel is that of a complex duality, where light and shadow dance constantly. It is said that even in his fall, he continues to discreetly accompany those who seek to explore the border between the visible and the invisible. It is the symbol of a timeless paradox. Can the quest for knowledge ever be pure, or does it always involve a dark side? Penemu, the artisan of shadows. In the dark corners of history, there exist elusive figures whose works defy morality, logic, and sometimes even reason. Penemu is one of them, an enigmatic, almost mythical character, on the border between the man of science and the creator of chaos. It is said of him that he mastered knowledge that very few dared to approach, the art of making weapons and that of designing poisons. Dangerous knowledge, secrets too heavy to be revealed without paying the price. Yet behind each metal forged to kill, behind each vial containing death, lies an intention, a motivation. Was it the thirst for power that pushed him, or the nobler ambition to restore balance? Some consider him a visionary, a precursor of a broader philosophy. For these admirers, Penemu did not seek to sow terror, but to offer a counterbalance. He understood that power inevitably concentrates in the hands of a few, and that to restore some form of justice it was necessary to arm those who would otherwise remain powerless. His creations, although instruments of death, would therefore paradoxically be symbols of liberation, tools to overthrow the established order. Penemu didn't just want to teach the art of killing. He wanted to reveal the flaws of authority, to show the fragility of any system based on force alone. But for others, his name resonates differently. They see him as an artisan of darkness, an alchemist obsessed with the destructive power he could bestow. Poison and the sword are for them the marks of a tortured mind, someone who, far from seeking balance, simply wanted to see the world burn to satisfy a morbid curiosity. His knowledge, they assert, was in no way intended to serve justice or equality. It was purely a means of creating chaos, a weapon against humanity itself. Thus, the silhouette of Penemu emerges between light and shadow, between benevolence and malevolence. His creations bear witness to this duality, and in trying to understand what he really wanted, the viewer is drawn into a labyrinth of ethical dilemmas. Who is Penemu really? A man seeking to restore balance or a demiurge manipulator of human lives? Mestima, the hombre de la foi. In the quiver of ancient pages, in parchments erased by time, a name emerges, elusive but terribly powerful. Mestima. Like a whisper from the heavens or a warning in the form of legend, it appears. He is not a figure of light nor entirely of darkness. Mestima is a being whose presence shakes certainties, a shadow which slips into the heart of human faith to strengthen it or destroy it, according to obscure designs. We know him as a tempter, but not in the simplistic sense of evil. More like a test, an ordeal intended to probe the depths of the soul, to test convictions to their breaking point. Ancient writings sometimes describe him as an angel of discord, a spirit dedicated to sowing hostility where harmony attempts to establish itself. Mestima is not the one who destroys visibly. Its power lies in the invisible, in the subtle flaws of the human heart. He probes weaknesses, presses doubts and secret aspirations. Where self-love could become selfishness, where ambition could turn into pride, he stands silent but present. Mestima does not seek to impose evil. He offers men the choice, the mirror of their own desires and their own limits. But why? The question haunts the minds who know him. Is he there to corrupt or to teach? His intentions are never clear, and that's probably what makes him so fascinating. If some see it as an agent of chaos, others perceive it as a necessary force, a balance allowing the true nature of humanity to be revealed. Doubt, after all, is faith's twin brother. Without the first, the second could erode, becoming weak and fragile. Mestima, by tempting men, forces them to choose, to defend their beliefs or to abandon them. In his own way, Mestima is an educator, stern, perhaps even ruthless, but uncompromising in his role. It reminds humanity that faith is only valuable if it has been tested, forged in doubt and pain. What would virtue be without trial? Courage without fear? Mestima ensures that these concepts do not remain empty words. For some, it will always be an enemy, a destabilizing force. For others, it is a necessary step, the reflection of what lies dormant in each being. Thus, Mestima remains elusive, a living paradox. He is the shadow that strengthens the light, the adversary that gives meaning to loyalty. His name continues to cross the centuries, like a challenge to those who dare to look him in the face, to discover their own truth. Azazel, the blacksmith of sacrifice. At the heart of ancient traditions, Azazel is distinguished by a knowledge that is both rare and formidable, the art of metallurgy. Where others simply manipulated raw material, he knew how to forge metal, transform it, give it a form which, in human hands, became a weapon of war. In the flames of the forge, he taught men how to overcome the hardness of minerals, how to temper metal to make it sharp, merciless. Through him, the power of destruction was brought within the reach of mortals, and with it, a new era of violence and power began. But Azazel was not just a blacksmith teaching profane knowledge. His influence extends far beyond the simple handling of metal. In ancient rites, we find him associated with atonement ceremonies, where he becomes a symbolic figure both feared and respected. In certain traditions, a ritual was dedicated to Azazel on the Day of Atonement. A goat, charged with the faults of the community, was sent into the desert, an offering of flesh and guilt. This offering, an act both symbolic and powerful, transformed Azazel into a mediator between humanity and its transgressions. In him, men saw not only the origin of their destructive power, but also a reminder of their own faults, like a pitiless mirror of their inner duality. Azazel thus represents a paradox, an ambiguous force which links knowledge and guilt, power and repentance. By transmitting the secrets of the metal, he awakened in men the possibility of dominating by force, but he also sowed in them a weight, that of responsibility. For every sword forged in Azazel's forge carries within it a burden. It is both a creation and a curse, an instrument of protection and destruction. Mastery of metal is inseparable from awareness of its use. This double face of Azazel, sometimes a guide to occult knowledge, sometimes a symbol of atonement, persists in the human imagination. Its presence reminds us that all power, even that acquired through knowledge, has a price. In the flames of the forge and the solitude of rituals, he embodies the sacrifice necessary for men to understand their own potential and their own weaknesses. Bezalel, the artisan of shadows. Bezalel is much more than just a craftsman. He is the one who embodies creative power, this divine spark that few know how to tame. Under his hands, materials come to life, metals bend, stones light up, and wood reveals its hidden veins. But his art is not just about form and beauty. It is loaded with secrets, mysteries, shadows that few dare to face. Bezalel is a name that resonates in the echoes of silent workshops, where tools rest between each meticulous gesture, loaded with symbolism. This is where art takes on another face, that of a force both beautiful and disturbing, ready to express what is unspeakable, to reveal the unacknowledged. He is the patron of artisans, the guide of those who create with their hands and their soul. For these creators, Bezalel is a model. He shows that even in the fall, even in the darkest moments, art always finds a way. When the light fades and the shadows extend, that is when the purest forms emerge. In this sense, Bezalel embodies the paradox of beauty born from suffering, of harmony forged in disorder. Because art is never simple, never fully luminous, it is imbued with this duality, a bridge between the visible and the invisible, between the ideal and the imperfect. Some whisper that Bezalel carries unconfessed secrets within him, shadows of desires or fears that hide behind every feature, every curve of his creations. But perhaps this is the true face of creativity, a mixture of light and darkness, a dance between what is revealed and what must remain hidden. By associating art with these areas of mystery, he reminds men that all beauty carries within it an element of disquiet, a thrill of the unknown. Thus, Bezalel is not only a master of forms, he is also an alchemist of emotions, an architect of the unspeakable. By elevating art beyond the visible, it allows men to perceive fragments of their own soul. Each work, each sculpture, each object shaped under his influence becomes a mirror, a surface where we divine inaccessible truths, but present, just on the edge of consciousness. Through him, art becomes a quest, a journey through the shadows, where the very essence of humanity is glimpsed in a subtle play of light and secrecy. Cadriel, the tempter warrior. In the depths of mythology, the name Cadriel evokes a mixture of fascination and fear. He is the one accused of having incited Eve to taste the forbidden fruit, the one whose persistent whisper would have awakened in the human mind a hitherto unknown desire, that of forbidden knowledge, of the transgression of limits. But Cadriel doesn't stop there. It is not only curiosity that he instills in hearts, it is also the technique of combat, the art of war, a knowledge with serious consequences that changes human destiny forever. It is easy to see him as a dark figure, a symbol of disobedience and violence. However, the portrait of Cadriel is much more complex, and those who take the time to dwell on his actions see him as something other than a simple provocateur. Because if its influence has plunged humanity into doubt and confrontation, it has also awakened it to profound, perhaps necessary truths. War, although terrible, requires a sense of strategy, courage, and sacrifice. Under the guise of the destroyer, Cadriel could be seen as a teacher, pushing humanity to understand its own flaws and to grow through the ordeal. But Cadriel's nature is not reduced to this duality between good and evil. In some stories, he emerges as a being capable of redemption. This is where Cadriel's story takes on a new depth. The possibility of a transformation, of an elevation beyond his initial role. Perhaps, like the humanity he influenced, he too is in search of light, seeking to redeem an error or to transcend the simple notion of good or evil. He is then described less as a tempter than as a guide whose methods, although harsh, open the way to awareness. This ambiguity makes Cadriel a fascinating character, a figure who never ceases to question human certainties. He who introduced war, pain, and doubt also showed the strength that lies in accepting shadows. Perhaps its mission does not come down to a simple incitement to error, but to a journey which forces humanity to grow, to find a part of wisdom in the ordeal. Cadriel then becomes a reflection of human contradictions, a symbol of the inner struggle between the desire to know and the fear of consequences. In his eyes, some still see the shadow of an ancient sin. Others, the promise of possible redemption. These fallen angels are not simply figures of damnation. They are characters with varied stories and motivations, sometimes close to humans in their errors and their quest for meaning. Their actions, good or bad, have had a profound impact on the destiny of humanity. Ultimately, their stories invite us to think, can shadow and light coexist to shape our path? If this theme intrigues you, subscribe to explore other celestial mysteries between angels, demons, and supernatural creatures.